Monday's grand jury decision sparked a rage that's difficult for many to understand. Angry words quickly escalated into arson and looting. Only a handful of elected officials have the experience of dealing with a riot that exposed deep racial divides like this one. So in his memoir, A Mayor's Life Governing New York's Gorgeous Mosaic, Mayor David Dinkins shares that experience. He served as the 106th mayor of New York City from 1990 to 1993, and he is joining us from New York City. Mayor Dinkins, thank you so much for taking a few minutes with us. I do appreciate it. There are very few mayors that have faced this kind of situation. Can you just first of all start off by telling us how the Ferguson mayor, James Knoll, might be able to regain calm and control of his city?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sufficiently close to it there to make a suggestion. Part of the problem, of course, is the population of the city. The African American community is a very small, is represented by a very small number of police officers, and I think that's a large part of the problem.
And speaking of which, that seems to be, at least by many accounts, a large part of the problem, and a lot of that has to do with the disparity between the percentage of African Americans in that community, 68% black in Ferguson, and only 3 of the 56 members of law enforcement there in Ferguson are African American, and so that might lend itself to some mistrust and misunderstanding. I'm wondering, based on your experience, and I'm hearkening back to 1999 when you protested against the police in the it's not Abner Louima, but Amadou Madalo case, who was unarmed and shot 41 times by the police. Is it possible to repair that kind of fracture and distrust between a minority community and law enforcement?
Yeah, it's possible. I am part of the Amadou Diallo Foundation. And Amadou Diallo was shot 19 times, 41 rounds were fired, and he had no weapon, was doing nothing, and they were just wrong, should not have happened. And to this day, people are very unhappy about that. But that's an entirely different circumstance than what they've got there in Ferguson.
How do you think it's different? And do you in any way feel like law enforcement in general has gotten out of control? I mean, even since Amadou Diallo, there's a long list of African-American males that have been killed at the hands of law enforcement, usually white law enforcement. What's going wrong here?
Well, I don't want to make a sweeping statement that all white law enforcement is bad, but the fact of the matter is that too often we have a circumstance wherein the people on duty, the white police officers, are either ill-trained or I'd rather believe them to be ill-trained than to suggest that they're just evil.
Mr. Mayor, you had to deal with the days-long Crown Heights riots during your tenure as mayor. How did you deal with it? How did you approach such a volatile situation?
Well, we dealt with it by trying to be fair to everyone involved. It's important that the general public know what you're doing, that there be transparency, and I think we handle that very well. As a matter of fact, I would remind you that when Rodney King happened in Los Angeles, there were riots all over the country, but not in New York.
Indeed. So, of course, the Missouri governor, and this is at the state level, but I do want to ask you about it, called in National Guard, made that decision earlier last week before the announcement was made, and then now has called up 1,500 more Guards people to try to keep peace in this community. Part of the criticism was that even though the Guard was called in, and many think that act itself is provocative, they didn't do anything to stop the fires and the looting that happened last night. I'm just wondering your opinion, which is worse, to have the presence of the Guard and the provocative nature of that, or a Guard that stands by and lets all of this looting and violence happen?
Well, I'm not there, and I want to be very careful not to be critical of a circumstance where I don't have sufficient information. I'd like to make the point only that it is possible for government and law enforcement to be fair and to treat people fairly. And if that's not what's going on there, they're going to have a problem.
Indeed. Former Mayor of New York City, the Honorable David Dinkins. Mayor Dinkins, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.